Let's see if it shows up. The Go Live button is not showing up. All right. All right, we'll try it again. Aha. The button showed up. It's connecting to audio now, so this is good.
Ginger, are you able to make Spring a co-host because she'd like to present?
I already did.
I don't.
Oh, Crystal's here. Yay. Okay, hang on. Yep. She already was made a co-host. So was Sherry, so was Diane, so was Linda. And I'm going to make you one as well.
I'm not seeing Spring on there, so it might not have gone.
It shows on mine.
Weird. Okay. Spring, are you able to see it?
I just tried to share and I get an error message that said host disabled participant screen sharing. So I am unable to share it this time.
Okay. Fixed. Okay.
Yes, it is.
I'm still
Perfect.
unable
Thank
to,
you.
Ginger?
Yeah.
I'm still unable to go live on the YouTube channel.
Is it saying why? Does it give you an error code or anything?
No, and it wouldn't. It's just waiting for it to be sent from the Zoom meeting.
Okay. It's also, it's saying again, invalid input parameters.
This is Diane Spring.
Yes.
I've just now uploaded your document to the agenda. So if there's a workaround, if we need it, Ginger can click on it and lead you through it that way.
Perfect. I think we're good to go. I just tested my screen a second time after Ginger worked her magic, and I think we're good to go, but I definitely appreciate the backup. Thank you. It takes a village.
Okay, I'm checking.
It may be that we can't edit the parameters while we're in the meeting and might have to get out and all get back in. I don't know, but I've never had to troubleshoot in the middle of a meeting and try and correct the stream codes. So that might be the issue.
Log back in 5 minutes.
Everyone want to do that?
Seems like the thing to do.
Well, with both links provided to the public, Linda and I have been admitting everybody.
Okay. We would have to make sure Well, I know what to do. I will send that to, let's see.
Well, if you record the meeting, I can post the recorded meeting on our YouTube channel if you prefer.
Okay.
I have it recording.
Okay.
I think that it has to be done real time. You can't keep people from joining a meeting.
If they click on the Zoom link, they are joining the meeting and it's a live meeting.
Okay. Try that for a second. See if I can get here. I'm going to send it out quickly. Okay, it's been sent to all staff, so in case people wanted to join, they can. All right.
I've been having people send me messages that they're trying to get on. So just direct them to the Zoom portion.
Yes, the
Okay.
Zoom meeting link. Use the Zoom meeting link.
Okay. And I just got a message back that they're locked out by the host and won't be let in or can't be let in.
Oh, no. Well, let's
I
see.
noticed that under the three dots down, under the participants, it says there's an area for locked meeting, and I noticed that it's locked. Can it be unlocked to let others in? I'm not a Zoom pro by any means. I just noticed that.
Okay, well, we'll try it. Okay. Okay, people are coming in.
Let me reach out to Heidi also because she was also locked out.
Yeah, I just texted her and asked her to try again.
Okay. Oh, you did. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also told her she could call and we could admit her that way as well.
Yeah. Okay. So do we have a quorum? Sorry, I'm trying to look here. We did at one point. We've got a quorum. I'll go ahead and open the meeting at 6:14. I'll start with a roll call. Ricardo,
Here.
Heidi, let me loop back to Heidi. Crystal,
Here, but I'm in an airport.
Jason,
Here.
is that a here?
Yep, sorry.
Perfect, thanks. Bill,
Here.
and back to Heidi. We do have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and open that up. If you'd all join me with flag salute and pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, getting started. Board communication, just updates and then updates on OSBA. Did you have anything to say on the OSBA convention, Bill? I'm kind of flying off the cuff. I didn't know.
Yeah, no worries. Convention was good. It was all day on Saturday from, for me anyways, it started at 7:45, kicked off at 8. And we had some good speakers, and it was nonstop. So there was like having to run to the bathroom, the kind of thing. There was things going on. It was well done, and some of the quite a number of the workshops were very interesting. And for those who registered and were paid to go, you have access to all of the workshops available. One didn't record, unfortunately, but they're all available to watch in hindsight, so you can go back and watch them all. The final closing workshop was by far the most compelling. Students from around the state talking about racism in schools. They were all high school students. Sweet Home, Umatilla, David Douglas, can't remember the other two, but that was quite a compelling half an hour. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Much appreciated. Moving on to item number 2, building director reports. And we have Sherry up.
I'm merely going to introduce our presentation for this evening. When asked to put a presentation about math and what it looks like during CDL, I knew right away I needed to go to our experts, and those experts being Spring Chang, Amanda Colley, Karen McGill as math coaches and instructional leaders, and then Cheryl Dyer, who's now a part of the teaching and learning team, for putting this presentation together. And so I'm really proud of the presentation you're going to see, and I'm most proud because it reflects the work of our teachers. And so I will turn it over to Spring.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And for anyone who doesn't know who I am.
Can you turn your mic up just slightly?
You bet. I usually talk really loud, but I don't want to like blast through people's speakers. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's totally fine. I spent 10 years as a 5th grade teacher at the intermediate school. And then I did 2 years of instructional coaching K-5, and I've spent the last 5 years doing math instructional coaching. Can I just get a thumbs up, Sherry, if you can see my screen? Perfect. You're one of the people I can see, so. All right, let's get started. So I just want to give, Sherry gave credit to the people who have been working on this, and I too wanted to give credit. It's been a great team collaborative between Cheryl, Sherry, myself, Amanda representing the middle school, and Karen representing the high school mathematics. We've had fun putting this together. It's hard to cram all of the things we want to say and share into a short presentation. So we got a lot of laughs out of just trying to fit it all in. We are talking about teaching math during the time of comprehensive distance learning, which, you know, there's an elephant in the room about how miserable it is. And so maybe you relate to this image. Maybe you know somebody who relates to this image, but it has been a struggle for both parents and kids. That's just the reality. So before we dive into math, let's just call it out, right? And then it's not just the parents and the kids. The teachers are also working so hard, and it is very stressful. So let's just acknowledge that right out of the gates, and then look at all the things that are in our control and the things that are going well with our math initiative. So our math initiative, our teachers are planning with intention to engage their students through the computer. And if you have been witness to any kids learning through the computer, you know that keeping their attention can be rather challenging. And so the teachers have been working really hard on not only keeping their attention, but encourage student thinking and really having them share their ideas. It's not just a matter of being given a problem and expecting a correct answer. You know, in our classroom, we have a lot of management systems in place, and none of those carried over to CDL. And so, although this sounds like it's part of a teacher's job, and it absolutely is, it has been very complicated to try and turn that around into the lens through the computer. So I just want to really put a shout out to the teachers. They have never worked harder to engage their students in the learning, and they are continually finding new ways to engage their students. It's really powerful. And I think you'll see some of that in the video presentation as well. Teachers are really dedicated to creating and delivering meaningful math experiences for our students, despite COVID, despite being through the computer, despite everyone's social emotional health being on the rocks, right? They're not just teaching math blindly, they are creating really powerful lessons to connect with our kids. And in class, they would have had a lot of their classroom management routines set up that they're very familiar with. And this year, they had to set up new math routines in order to keep the kids engaged and to be able to really reach all learners. And there are so many things that kids are doing behind the scenes, that teachers are doing behind the scenes. Unless you're around a teacher 24 hours a day, we really have no idea all the things that are happening. So when the three of us, or five of us sat down and we were like, okay, what are some of the new things you've had to learn, or tools that you've had to learn, that you've had to research and use and teach your kids and make it meaningful in math? This is a list of things that came up in like 2 minutes with five of us. Imagine if we had polled K-12 teachers, how huge this list would be. So to make math meaningful, to get the interaction we're looking for, we are using so many new tools in order to reach our kids. And it's just really, it's really powerful to see. So part of our math initiative, one of the bedrock pieces of our math initiative to really bring up our test scores and help our kids really love math and become mathematicians, is our work with Teachers Development Group, which we'll call TDG for the rest of the presentation. So TDG really gets to the heart of how teaching math really matters, right? We are changing the way we teach math because the standards are changing how we're teaching math. And it's really getting to a more meaningful, thought-provoking way to do math. And naturally, math instruction is going to change because there's nothing that shows great progress that hasn't shown change as well. I mean, if we had, you know, I'm thinking back to when people made airplanes, right? When that whole thing started and people were like, you can't make things lift off the ground. You can't fight gravity. But think about how innovative they were. And if those people hadn't been thinking outside the box, really innovative and confident in their skills, you know, we would still be having these little mini airplanes that have paper wings and they're, you know, diving off of cliffs, but instead we have 747s. And so we don't want to just make robots. We really want to make those innovative thinkers, and it really just start in the math classroom. If we were to teach the same way we had always been teaching, we'd get the same things that we've always got. And I don't know about you, but I'm not super thrilled with the results that we're getting. And our teachers are frustrated. And that's why this work with TDG has been so powerful, because it's really starting at the foundation of all that matters in math, the teaching and how students learn. And it's helping us put that together so that we can shift our perspective. I don't know about you guys, but many of us, when we were taught, even in our math ed classes, we were still just following algorithms and getting answers. It was all about the answer. And that's just not the kind of kids we want to produce. We don't want these cookie cutter kids that can rattle off algorithms to get answers. We want deep thinkers. We want the people making the airplanes and landing on the moon. So TDG has deeply researched practices. Everything they bring to the table is incredibly powerful. It is made up of expert researchers. It's made up of college professors, and everyone on the team has some kind of educational background. So they really know what they're doing. On top of that, for years now, they have been implementing their teachings, their research-based teachings to teachers around the United States, to school districts in the United States, and they have had just really phenomenal success. Now, this success does not come in year 1, year 2, year 3, right? This comes over an amount of time. So let me show you a little bit about why TDG requires time for the teacher to change and for the students to change. So this is just a snapshot, and every single one of these squares and the habits of mind and the habits of interaction, every square and every rectangle in the teaching routine or the catalytic teaching habits has a whole pages of descriptions about what this means. And we are learning how to create teaching habits and routines that then lead to these students' actions, their habits of mind, their habits of interaction, because the research shows that this is how we get kids engaged, thinking and learning and becoming really proficient. And of course, as you follow the arrows, you can see that this all leads to our students justifying their answers, being able to explain why and not just have a right or wrong answer. This gives a lot of power to kids. And then we want them to generalize. We want them to be able to apply that information to different settings. So this is just a snapshot of, this is like from the moon, if I'm looking at Earth, snapshot of the work that we do at TDG. And as you get closer, all of these expand out. So it is definitely a process, but it's really powerful. We had really great feedback from teachers that really enjoyed being observed and getting immediate feedback, and to have all of these positive tools that they're slowly learning over time to implement in their classroom. So I mentioned time. In our timeline with TDG, last year was all of our initial training. They did 2 cohorts, and then we got shut down, in the spring with CDL. And we have slow to start because our teachers are at capacity right now. But we believe that we will start virtual meetings and trainings up again with TDG starting as soon as January, or planning in January to start in the spring. So really, we were just in the very beginning of implementing this process when we got interrupted. So next year, we will continue our trainings, continue applying what we learned, observing each other, giving each other feedback, and year after year. And the reason I made this a 5-year continuum is because we're talking about really transformational change when it comes to math, and that is hard. And so it takes time. So anything else, if you commit to something, oftentimes it doesn't come right away and we quit and then we never get the results. One of the #1 questions I get is, why are our test scores so low? Well, this is why. Because we start something and we stop it, and we start something and we stop it. So TDG, our work with TDG, is so incredibly important and powerful because we're looking at this chunk of time, years in the making, to turn our test scores around and to really create our mathematicians. And of course, we're doing all of this to gain access and give equity in mathematics. So let me read you this quote from NCTM, the National Committee of Teaching Math. Access and equity in mathematics at the school and classroom levels rest on beliefs and practices that empower all students to participate meaningfully in learning mathematics and to achieve outcomes in mathematics that are not predicted by or correlated with student characteristics. All right. Let's have some fun. So in this video, I would really like to challenge you to look for, oh, it just went away. I would like to challenge you to look for, can you see my video? Yes, okay, Glenn, I see you nodding. I just wanted to make sure it swapped over. In this video, I would really like to encourage you to watch what the teachers, their tools they're using to get their learning across. I would love for you to get, why is it paused?
It didn't swap over.
No, it didn't. We're still seeing the presentation, Spring, not your
Perfect,
other.
thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to problem solve. That is no problem. We will bring it up and I will share again. And so I just really encourage you to look at, all right, how are we doing now?
There we go.
Awesome. So I would really encourage you to look at the tools the teachers are using, the way they're communicating with kids, the variety from K-12, and you know, the student responses. You might also notice that at least one teacher has a dress-up day included in there. I'll let you figure out which one, and sit back and enjoy the movie.
What would you imagine to see? Make a prediction. What do we expect to see on the 11th?
Spring, we lost audio.
Plus 1 equals 10.
Oh my goodness. Okay, did you actually fit 9 in there? Whew, that was a tight fit, I bet.
Yeah.
There's my 9. And then you're saying then there's only 1 in the red mat.
Yeah.
9 and 1 more is 10. Oh, I'm going to write it down. Go ahead, Evgeny.
I got an answer. If you have 4 in the blue box, and if you put 6 in the red box, that makes 10.
Ooh, let's check it out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that what you had? There's 4, and there's 6 in this one.
10 plus 0.
Oh my goodness. Did anybody else think of that one? Oh, I love it.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the word array. Array is a fun word. Array is a picture of multiplication. If you draw an array, you're drawing a picture of multiplication using rows and columns. So this model here shows 1, 2, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. And then it shows 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay, so this is my model. I have 3 rows. I'm going to put an R for row. And then I have 4 columns. And I'm going to put a C for column. Now I'm going to write my multiplication equation. What is my multiplication equation going to be?
3 times 4 equals 12.
Do you agree with Riley? 3 times 4 equals 12. Is that my equation? Good job.
So for 4 times 7, what did you come up with?
So I did an array, and then I counted how much rows there were. Well, yeah. And then I counted how much ones were in each one.
Okay.
And then,
So
and then I put it all together, and then I got the answer.
can we see your drawing? Thank you. Yes. Scoot it up just a smidge. Okay. Nice. Wow. And I like how you have the numbers on the side. Okay. That definitely helps visualize. So what was the product that you came up with?
28.
Nice. Anyone else? Yes. That's what I got too. What do you notice? What do you wonder about this picture frame? All right, lots of noticings on, now we're changing our language and seeing a lot more people notice that we've got some circles or some half circles around the outside of this frame, that we have a rectangle for the picture frame. A lot of people are wondering what the dimensions are or what the area of the rectangle is. Wondering why there are bubbles around the outside of a square, kind of a weird picture frame, but there's a lot of different ones out there, absolutely. Better yet, do you want me to split you off into individual smaller groups so you can talk amongst your groups? 36, 44, can somebody explain to me how they got their answer?
Can I present it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I thought that, you know how there's circles down here on top, like how you said? Like how many is at the top and the bottom? Like on the blue lines? Okay, so you see that here, it's like 1/2, right, of a circle? You add these two, it creates one whole circle. And plus you add this one to the half that's right here. And plus you add another half of it, which equals 1 radius. Then you add it to this half, which equals 2 circles. And for that, every side is 2 circles. So then we added that to the original perimeter, and that's how I got 44.
If you notice, these other 3 graphs were all solid lines, whether they were squiggles or they were negative slope or they didn't go all the way across the screen, they were solid. And so this top right graph is different than the others because it's what we call a discrete graph. A discrete graph is made up of just points in a coordinate plane versus these other 3 over here. These 3 are called continuous graphs because they always have an output no matter where you are. All the answers that we had yesterday on the Desmos activity, those were all continuous graphs because at every moment we could graph where it was, right? We're gonna see some difference between discrete and continuous today because we are jumping into 3.1. All right, so we saw the screen yesterday, but how can you describe a relationship given a graph and sketch a graph given a description? So this is our focus for today. Hop back into your pear deck because you're gonna do a drag option here. 3 hoses fill 3 different water barrels. Here's where we ended up with. So quite a few people picked the green in the middle. A lot of people picked the black one for the left, and a lot of people picked the blue one for the right. We had some mixed answers here, right? This is kind of our focus for today and what we did yesterday, right? Which is being able to interpret what a graph means and using like a story problem to create something. So let's get started with some of these.
But we're gonna take some notes. During those notes, we will sing this song, the newest song, the Quadratic Formula song, and then your homework tonight is going to be just 5 problems, all of which require you to use the formula. I guarantee if you work on singing the song with us, not only should it make your day a little happier, but it will get that formula stuck in your brain, and that is a really important piece. So let's try it together. I'm hoping to hear a voice besides my own. Jesse's ready. I think he's the only one with me. The rest of you, maybe Haley.
No, I'm gonna do it.
We're with you. I'm ready.
Bro,
and if your voice is so amazing that you don't want to sing with the rest of us because you'll just make us sound horrible, you could still like sing without the mic on, like lip sync. That would be cute. Just saying. Anyway, join me please if you're willing. X equals Eighth grade. And that was sort of like a time lag. It was like a canon or a round. Like I started and somebody else started and somebody else. That was nice.
All right. Let me share again my presentation. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that was pretty darn cute if you if you ask me. All right. So in conclusion of watching those creative teachers and making CDO work and all of those awesome responses from our kids, oh man. It's just a reminder that our work goes beyond teaching students to make calculations that their smartphones can do for them, right? And we're working really to inspire kids to be enthusiastic mathematicians. We don't want them to be like so many of us are that feel like they can't do math and feel like they are not good at math or not a math person, because that doesn't exist. We can all learn math, and that's what we teach our kids. And we give them those opportunities to try and feel that way. And math isn't something that's reserved for the elite anymore. If you look through history, math history, it was made for white men, and it wasn't accessible to everybody else. And that's we're trying to change all of that. And obviously through the years that has changed naturally. But it's really important to us that anybody and everybody that walks through our classrooms can have math accessible. So I kind of talked to you a little bit about what our math initiative looked like. You've got to see an example of what teachers are doing in the classroom. They're so awesome. And so I just wanted to throw out this opportunity. Sometimes people are left with this feeling of like, okay, great, I'm sensing there's a lot of work. I'm committed with you guys to do it. And what do I do? How do I learn more about it? And this book, I highly recommend, Principles to Actions, Ensuring Math Success for All. This is really the bedrock of math taught today. And it is deeply embedded, the practices from this book are deeply embedded in what TDG brings to the table as well. So I think it would be great to do a book study. Sherry will talk more with you about that. But I do have this vision and dream of board members and teachers and leadership coming together to do a book study together and really all coming together. Because it would be a great opportunity to be an active part of the solution and to be a part of the North Marion Math Initiative, which would be really cool. I've also just linked a quick document in here that's a summary about the book that would give you an idea from reading it if you were interested. And I wasn't sure if the school board knew or not, but all of the principals have done a book study of this book with TDG. So it's something that even our leaders who may not have naturally seen themselves as math people, they have been doing a ton of work outside of their comfort zone and learning alongside of us that love math and feel good about math. And I really encourage you to ask your leaders about their experience because they have some really great stories coming out of that. That's a wrap for tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Again, just a mention of the team that built this for us tonight. And I appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Spring. That was just really well done. And thank you to Cheryl, who helped a great deal with the presentation, Amanda Colley, Karen McGill, and every teacher who was in the video, but again, to all the teachers who I know are working so hard to keep math alive for our kids. And I think there was great evidence of that student engagement in those videos. I just love to see the students sharing their thinking. And I do want to say that if any board member is interested, I'd be happy to purchase the book's Principles to Action, and we can really engage in a book study together. To more fully and deeply understand the shift we're trying to make with math instruction.
And I
Thank you, Spring.
I also want to acknowledge the teachers who have worked so hard to make the change and to implement these ideas. I know they're excited about them. They like them. They're very powerful. They honor all students' thoughts, and they help them all get to the right answer in a different way, but they get there. And then they develop their confidence and they understand that as learners, there's always more than one way to get there. I also appreciate the board and want to thank the board for setting a math goal and hoping that that through diligent work and commitment that we can help all students feel the success of solving a math problem that they didn't think they could do before, and appreciating their own brilliance with the opportunity to do that. So thank you, board.
One of the things I appreciated most about our work with Teacher Development Group was the fact that we sat down together, K-12 teachers and K-12 administrators, and worked collaboratively together, arm in arm. And so that had a really big impact for each one of us. And as Spring mentioned, we're just at the beginning of the process. So I know that great things are going to happen for North Marion School District as we more deeply implement the plan.
I just wanted to say thank you to Spring and to Sherry for the presentation. It was really good. It's great to see what the students are actually engaging in, especially in this time of CDL. So much appreciated to the work that went into to bring that to the board and to to show us what you guys are actually doing daily. So I really do appreciate it.
We hope it helped provide some context.
Absolutely. It's good to see what's going on, and I know it's been challenging for staff and for everyone to make all the adjustments that we're doing, but I can't impress upon enough how appreciative we are for changing course, being flexible, but yet still trying to put the kids right there at the forefront. So
Okay, board, if you have any other questions or follow-up learning that you'd like to do, please send me an email and I'll make sure Sherry gets that. And now, Sherry, I believe there's another topic you wanted to discuss. You're muted, Sherry. Sherry, you're muted.
Thank you. So sorry, I am not going to go over the board report that was submitted, but I would call your attention to it because I have shared the results of a needs assessment, distance learning needs assessment, teachers providing input regarding the experience with comprehensive distance learning and the support that they continue to need as we continue with CDL. The next piece under teaching and learning is simply a notice. And Ginger, were you going to present that or?
Sure. Well, you can just go ahead and say it for now.
Okay. So the notice is based on our board policy. We are beginning the curricular instructional material review process for social studies adoption. This is work that we began in the spring of 2019 and it got put on hold. And then distance learning happened, and so we are coming back to the process right now. We have, right now we're finalizing our committee members to date. We have had K through 12 teachers engaged in a standards review process, making sure that we have updated all of our curriculum maps to reflect the most current state adopted standards, as well as new legislation that has come into place. And so this is merely a notice that we are going to be continuing with that process. And that includes presentation of materials, piloting materials, and a formal recommendation for approval in the spring for materials implementation next school year, 21-22.
And Sherry would like to invite a board member to be on that committee after she has some time to write up what the time expectations are and the calendar and meeting times and things like that. We'll give that information to Glenn, and then Glenn, you can see if anyone would like to volunteer for that committee.
absolutely.
And that's it for now. More coming with this as we get further into the process.
Great, thanks again.
Okay.
Do we have a building reports?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Glenn, Bill has his hand raised.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
Just checking in, one quick question for Sherry. The social studies standards that are being worked on, does that include the new legislative requirements for the cultural studies bills that have been passed?
Yes. It surely does. And we've actually, for some of those new legislations, we were piloting some of the model lessons from the state last year in grades 4, 8, and 10. So that's the work I was referring to initially, making sure that we had those new standards mapped out in our curriculum maps for teachers. And then based on that work, we start looking at the curriculum materials, which is where we are and why we're providing the notice.
Thanks.
Great question.
Thanks, Bill. Any other questions?
Okay.
Don't see any. So moving on to item number 3. I'll let you take it away, Ginger.
Okay, well, these are where we left off in the board retreat was we were going to need some time to discuss board operating agreements and revise our current documents. So what has been provided in this list of documents are existing documents and potential new documents. And I would like to call your attention to 3 documents. Pointed out with my cursor here. School board norms. Oops, hang on, I'm admitting somebody. This one, school board norms. And then the 2017 intermediate board agreement form, example 1, and the board operating agreement, sample 4. So let me show these to you. This document helps the board, if you were in a committee and coming up with your charter of how you wanted to feel in a meeting and how you want the meeting to include everyone and what are some goals to uphold throughout the meeting. This would be a document that would help describe that. It's pretty simple, focused use of the meeting time, orderly procedures, consider staff and district capacity and resources, thoughtful deliberation and conversation, and information about board requests. I find that to be a very helpful document, so please keep that in mind. Let's see, going back one to the next. The intermediate board agreement. This is something that the board agrees as a group. It's guidelines to follow that help reflect the norms, but also reflect the board coming together as one voice, using time for deliberation during work sessions to express views and how they relate to all students in the district and have conversations like that. And then your board meetings are for business. And this operating agreement kind of has some guidelines about how to, what makes effective board work, what kinds of procedures make the best boards complete the most work in a year. So here's
Hey, Glenn, I don't know how to raise my hand on my iPhone, but I do have a question when I have a moment.
So, so here's the information here about meeting protocols, decision-making, speaking to agenda issues. So that is another document that can provide a lot of guidance. And then the third one is kind of taking both the norms and the operations and putting them into one sample agreement. This is the working agreement. So this says how the work will actually look as it's going together. What the purpose is, the board's job description, the relationship with the superintendent, the role of board leadership, the role of superintendent, meeting operations and decision-making, communication and the chain of command, what to do when a complaint is filed. Committees. So my recommendation is to create the board's vision of accomplishing a significant amount of work in a year and forwarding the district's goals, that you adopt either A and B, which would be the norms and the board agreements, or you adopt this document, the board and superintendent working agreements, or all three. And you may want to review these now and then have a conversation about which elements may need further description, or maybe redundancies can be removed or whatever. You may need to have a conversation about that. But these are the three sets of guidelines that help the board execute its role as a policy and governance body. So any questions about these documents?
Sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
Hi, so is somewhere in that document, I feel like I've been blindsided lately as a board member, since we're talking about these board agreement policies with the superintendent, that emails are going out right after the public comment is cut off, and also being blindsided by decisions that are being made. So it's like, do we have a communication section in there?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm assuming that
Starting route to
let's see, the email that I sent out was 4 o'clock, and I know that we have it as a district policy, or not a district practice, based on years of history, and Diane's told me this many, many times. She always sends email out at that time, that particular time, because that's what families wanted. So if that's
can we
I think would be a great question. It would be, one of the things when you have a question like this is the first person that you should ask would be me, right when you have the question, so that you can get the information that you need right away. Because I think that would have been a simple, no, that's a practice. We always send emails out at that time.
Well, often it's an hour before our board meeting that I get a notification as a parent, and other parents get notifications of decisions that are being made, and then you're not allowed to bring it up during the meeting.
I think that's just a coincidence. I think you're reading into that. And I think, like I said, a simple clarification question, if it had been asked right at that time, would have helped you. So I recommend that when you have a question, especially a question like that, that please ask me right away.
I usually do, but I don't always get answers. So I guess we'll just have to take that up with Glenn too.
Well, I would disagree with that, because that particular question you have not asked me, and it's been quite some time since that email went out. So please ask me questions.
Any other questions? And I I would just add to that that I'm not necessarily the gatekeeper of information. Before I was chair, I certainly went to Ginger often with questions as a board member, and until I got an answer. That was not something that was something that was out of the norm, and I never felt like I was stepping on anybody's toes by doing that. So I would encourage every board member, if you have questions, just to ask. Please do. I think that's part of her role in being our only employee, is to bring concerns forward, bring questions forward, especially when they resonate with the community. So I see a question from Bill. Go ahead.
So based on what I'm reading here, we're just evaluating these things today just for our own self-knowledge, and we're going to talk about them when we meet with Vince Adams from OSBA, or
Yes.
Are we picking one now?
Well,
What's our...
We kind of left it with him that we were going to come up with something on our own, and then he would look at what we agreed to and then help us set goals, which is the next section. He's available on December 7th, so I wanted to put that on everyone's calendar to see if that was going to be a good day. If not, we would schedule a different day. But he would like to meet with us so that we can complete the work that we wanted to do at the retreat. So if the board has read through those documents and has an inclination about the combination of documents that they would like to use as guidance for this year, you can go ahead and state that now. If you really haven't had time yet to thoroughly look it over and you want more time to talk about it, that's also a possibility. So I'll take guidance from the board on that, what they would like to do.
So my personal opinion was that I like the combined document of sample 4.
Okay.
Maybe some wordsmithing rather than having multiple documents. That seemed to be like a comprehensive mashup of the major things, as opposed to having, refer to this, refer to that kind of thing. But just thinking out loud, that was my feedback. That's my feedback.
Heidi's got her hand raised. Go ahead, Heidi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I like all the examples that were given. I do like the more simplified, the examples, the school board norms and the other 2 examples, because I think they're very easy to read. Whereas the last one, the board operating agreement, is a little more wordy, but it is more detailed. So I'm kind of torn, but I would support either the first 3 or just the last one I guess the last one's a combination of the previous 3, basically. That looks like it's from Corvallis or something.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heidi.
Yeah, I don't think that was helpful. Sorry.
It was.
No, actually it was. Because I like how the norms reads as well too. But I see both sides. I think boiling it down to one document is probably better, but that first one definitely reads better by my standards, especially for a new board member who were to be getting on, and we've got a vacancy to fill. That's kind of just a good, general, not getting too far into the legalese language of things, but.
How about Jason?
I'm easy. Simpler the better.
Ricardo?
I'll go with the last one. The 4th.
Okay. Crystal?
I think one document is probably the best, but I think I like what each of them has to, has to say. So maybe if we wordsmith and combine them into one document.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that feedback.
And then we can continue that with.
Glenn, can I make a
Yeah, go
comment?
ahead. Go ahead, Heidi.
You know, it's almost like this, the fourth example, the lengthy one is almost like an AR, and the other documents are kind of like our policy, meaning, you know, it's kind of like, this is more like exactly how you're going to do everything with, you know, details on emails and things like that. So maybe we could come up with one like kind of a hybrid, like Crystal mentioned, and then maybe also this fourth one. Just my idea.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Heidi. There's pros and cons to each of them, and I think that we can be a little bit unique in what we want ours to say and to make sure it flows very well.
Okay, why don't I come up with a draft? Diane and I will work on a draft of combining them and then sending them to you via email for feedback. Would that work?
Yeah.
I'm nodding my head.
Okay. All right. I'm moving on to the next topic then. Board goal setting. So one of the things I wanted to do is to review this document, and this because boom, 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 boom. Go this way. Can you see that okay?
No,
Can you read it, see it at all?
no, it's
Nope.
Odd. Okay. All right. Okay, well, I don't know why it's not showing. Let me, oh, maybe I need to switch my screen that I'm sharing. Hang on. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now can you
got
see?
it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So in this document, this is where we came up with our 5-year plan and what we were going to work on. And here is the focus for the board. Here's what we're working on. This meeting actually starts next week with our design team will be gathering, and we will begin building this. Yes, it starts next week. And we'll also be working on this customized report card. Of course, it's harder in a time of COVID to come up with things that are meaningful to everyone, but we'll work on that. That'll be a joint project. You will have some input, and I'll have some questions for you about what all should be included in that. So,
Ginger, can I ask you a quick question on that?
Certainly.
On that customized report card, I'm just going to be brutally honest, is that more of a hindrance right now in the transition to distance learning? Should that be something we should postpone, or do you feel like having...
You were cutting out a little bit. I cut out after the word.
I'm sorry. Is it a hindrance to have that transition to that piece right now during distance learning, or is it valuable still?
I think it's valuable still in the planning stages. If we tried to push it out this year, it might be a little too much. But if we started planning for it and then noticing especially in light of the adopted student investment account priorities and like the multi-tier systems of support, social emotional wellness. We may have some very good ideas that emerge from that work that inform our district report card and things that we wouldn't have thought of before. So I think we use this year to start identifying what things we really want to report out on that are important to the community, that are child-centered. And then we start gathering the data for it next year and then use that as the district report card. But thank you.
Okay, so you're not implementing it this year. I just don't want to put any more on you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and a very thoughtful question. Thank you very much. Yes, it's tough to do right now, but we're still, even in a tough time like this, we're still we have 1 foot in the present and 1 foot in the future, and we have to keep working in that way so we don't lose the momentum for all the things that we want to accomplish. And along that line is the next one, creating a 5-year plan to raise achievement in math. We're right in the middle of that right now, and we're making wonderful progress, and it's engaging, and the children are enjoying it as much as they can in the comprehensive distance learning environment. And I guess one of the new learnings about implementing things like I found a fundamentally different way in which we describe the learning process in math in order for everyone to get to the same right answer. Is the parents are now actively engaged in the process, whether they want to be or not, kind of thing. And that may help us fine-tune this plan even more. It may increase our increase the speed of accomplishing this goal as a result of everyone being engaged. So we're looking forward to that. And we are also now on the next one down below, talking once again about grading because of with the comprehensive distance learning environment, we need to be thinking about more things than just points when it comes to measuring learning in meaningful ways that kids have actually had the opportunity to learn and to demonstrate in a way that shows their best thinking, especially with the integration of technology. This goal was already there in the document, so we're currently working on this again and looking at it very deeply as to in what ways can we honor students' learning in a way that allows them to get feedback on their own progress, knowing what the goal is, what it looks like when it's done, what it looks like when it's better than what they thought. And they can hold up their own work to that and say, here's what it's supposed to look like. Here's an example of an excellent job. And here's my work. And I can see what I need to do to improve with guidance from the teacher instead of never knowing and having to just look at your points that you got and say, okay, that's what I got. And that's the grade. Well, but did we measure learning or did we measure a behavior? I mean, that's the crux of the conflict and what counts as grades kind of thing. So anyway, so that's still there. So, with your board goals, it's very timely, very important. And again, along with math, a goal that we should continue to work on. So I think if we continue with these goals that we have, look at the student and investment account, look at the activities, think about the progress that we're making in these areas, look at the things that we'd like to measure in addition to those things, I think it would be pretty natural, pretty inclusive, very equity focused. I think that our report district report card is going to be a good tool for us, good feedback for the community. So, okay. So there's your goals. I don't know, we may want to revise them after a conversation with Vince a little bit, but I think your goals are sound. I think these are really good goals to continue to work on. Are there any questions about that or feedback?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Just on the creating a 10-year plan to build a school of excellence. I think that we could kind of rephrase that to allude to, we've talked about doing a strategic plan, and maybe Bill can help me, or Glenn can help me remember what the exact word for going through the strategic planning process is. There's some acronym for that, but as we talk about doing that, I think that would maybe be a little more
engaging the community in a conversation about.
No, I just mean actually citing that, that we will go through the strategic
planning process.
Strategic planning process, but I think there's a name for it. And that is quite a commitment, I know, but I've done it before, but it's time to do it again, because then you have community, staff, a lot of key stakeholders involved in that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we do one of those? Didn't Ginger start working on one of those with like a few community members and staff?
I think that was the SIA.
Is that, oh, no, it was something that Charles went to.
Yeah, that was a student investment account. Yeah.
Okay. So different. All right, just checking.
Same type of idea though. Okay. All right. So seeing no other comments, then we'll move on to the next item, which is reopening schools update. And this will be pretty simple to share. There's a lot of documents here. These are the ones that I showed last time. I looked at the website today, and the good news is that the percentage has dropped. So yay. The not so good news is that the case count went up. So when I looked at the metrics, it says that if you are in 200, you're still 200 or above, you're in the distance learning mode. But you can also do limited in-person instruction if recommended. If you look at on page 2 of the document, it says schools should consider pausing limited in-person instruction when county case rates climb over 200 cases per 100,000 in population. The current case count for last week was 437. So we're still in the planning stages for limited in-person instruction. I have a meeting with the logistics team for that tomorrow, in which we're going to project some dates, hoping that we can bring students back as soon as possible, at least in the small cohorts we're allowed to do with the limited in-person instruction. It would be ideal if we can start those cohorts. You're supposed to have no more than 20, so starting small, 20 at each building, and then building from there. So again, we have to wait for the case rates to come down before we can actually start that program, but we're actively planning, and we will bring, as soon as we hit the transition number, the case count per week gets closer to 200 or drops down below 200, then we can set a real date and move forward. But we're very anxiously planning on having small cohorts of kids coming back as soon as possible. And again, when we move into that orange zone, we have 2 weeks to bring the kids back. I mean, it's not the small cohorts and get them started and then start building from there. So let's get those case counts down, everybody. Let's do what we can to, if any way for us to use the protocols and try to keep our groups as small as possible so that we're less likely to expose others, and there's not a lot of people that are likely to expose us. I mean, the more we can do, the better. We want to keep our students and our families and our grandparents and our staff healthy and happy and get everyone back to school, because I know that the number one thing that will make most teachers the happiest, I would say 99.99. Some of them are concerned because they have children at home who are medically fragile, and I honor that concern, and that's okay. But if the staff could see the kids in school again, I know that they would start to feel better. I know the kids would start to feel better. I know everyone would start to feel better. So let's get those numbers down as quickly as we can, and we'll look forward to getting the kids back to school as soon as possible. And that's my update. Any questions?
Go ahead, Heidi.
Oh, I noticed that you have the document about the outdoor K-12 sports being limited and return to play. I'm just curious, do we have any outdoor sports going on right now during this 2-week freeze, or just kind of was looking for an update on that?
No, we currently do not. It's the end of the outdoor season. It's about to start the indoor season. So the outdoor season's over for now.
Are we giving the kids or the other sports any opportunity to do outside conditioning?
I believe that the athletic director has stated that he wants everyone to take a 2-week break as the groups. If I know that kids may be doing individual workouts at this time during the freeze, but the group activities have stopped for the 2-week time.
I'm just curious, is the community allowed to like use the track if they want to go walk, or is the school grounds off limits?
Well, during the workday, it would, well, you know, that's a tough one, because we want the community to use the track, the outdoor, you know, walk around the campus and be able to do that. If, you know, you're around other people and you're wearing masks and you're following the safety protocols. And again, if it's not a lot of people, there are very few people that actually do that. If we had a group of people come in, it would be something entirely different. So if we are not we're not in campus lockdown for the track. So if people are coming, it's best to come when no one's here, no one's using the facility, including construction workers. So if people are coming in the evening or early in the morning when no one's around, that's an ideal time. Weekends, fine, you know. But again, the groups are the problem. If it's an individual coming around to walk around the track, that's really not an issue.
Any more questions? I guess with that, we can go ahead and adjourn unless there's anything else. We don't have Vince pinned down completely yet, do we?
No, I wanted to confirm that the 7th was going to be okay with everyone before I gave him the go ahead.
Does anybody have a conflict on the 7th, or is the 7th going to work for most board members?
Sorry, I don't have a calendar in front of me. What day of the week is the 7th?
7th is a Monday, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday's good.
And then we would still have our business meeting on the 14th.
Yeah, we would have a work session on the 7th, and it would be this work with Vince. And then the 14th, we would have a board meeting. And I believe that's the time where we also have to interview for board seat.
For vacancy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that executive or is that open session? I don't know. I'm just asking.
The interview, I believe,
Yeah.
is I don't think that's an open session. I think that you appoint the person in an open session. Diane, if you have,
I was going to say Diane might be a little clear.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. It's up to you guys. So generally the way it works, if you have only one candidate and if you reviewed their application, you could be prepared to appoint that person at the regular board meeting. You could have an interview process, which is open to the public. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The interview process is open to the public, but as far as like an executive session, no, this would all be available to the public.
Awesome.
Thanks, Diane. Sorry for the background noise.
Really quick, how many candidates do we have? We have one, you said?
We currently have one. I've had 3 people express interest. We have one solid. We have another one who inquired and I haven't received her application back, and I've reached out to her a couple times. The third one is a very busy mom, and so has looked at the requirements and declined. So I encouraged her to apply for the open budget position.
Thanks, Diane.
You bet.
All right. Well, thank you, board, for all your feedback tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm good with the 7th because I have an amazingly open calendar.
Okay. And
Ricardo, does the 7th work for you? And Jason, does it work for you on the 7th?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, one more thing. Bill, I believe there was something that you were going to think about.
Oh, I didn't know if we were going to bring that up tonight, but this is a work session, so it's a good time to bring that up, right?
Yeah, I think, and there's some, I would love everyone to hear what you put together. So I think that it's Thanksgiving, right?
Do you want me to share, or do you want to share it, or?
No, I think you should share it. I think you should read it, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up now. I was unprepared for, hold on, coming right up. I was thinking about it over the weekend and drafted a proposed resolution. Since we're in work session, I just was considering this for the season. And am I sharing?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I threw together a resolution proposal, not for tonight, but this would be done in a business meeting, but looking for feedback since we're doing this. So I put together a resolution just stating, whereas, the governor closed down in-person schooling in March, we are doing distance learning. The deputy director, Colt Gill, said that all employees became first-year employees because we all had to learn a whole new way of educating children. in a short notice. We had technology that we needed to get and bring online and train, and new software data management systems, all those whereases. And then the resolution I'm proposing for people to consider is that be it resolved that the board of the North Marion School District wishes to thank all staff for their commitment to serving students in these difficult times and being open to new ideas and pedagogy to help students continue their learning through comprehensive distance learning guidelines from ODE. I see I have a typo there. To using, oh, sorry, that's, that didn't get cut, right? My bad. The district's committed to supporting continuous development and improvements during this time and deliver the best education outcome for our students. So in this season, I thought I would propose a resolution, very straightforward, saying that the board wanted to thank the staff for their commitment to working hard on these difficult times.
And I want to support that resolution by saying that I want everyone that's listening to this meeting to know that I hear from board members frequently how much they appreciate what all of the staff do for their children and for other children and for the community. And sometimes you know, some people hear it and other people don't get a chance to hear that, but I want all staff to know, admin including, that people do appreciate your work and say that on a regular basis. They just haven't been able to see you, so they could say it in person. And okay, so.
Can I comment on that?
Certainly.
Sure.
I would say I have been very blessed by the amount of care and effort that the middle school teachers have taken this year with the circumstances that my family has been through. And it is apparent that they're all on the same page and that the social emotional learning component is definitely at the forefront. And I really appreciate that as not only a mother, but being able to witness that firsthand as a school board member.
Thank you, Crystal.
So if
I would just add to that, Bill. I appreciate this very much. I think it's absolutely due and very timely. So I appreciate you coming up with that and crafting it and putting it together.
So if there's not any wordsmithing or changes or comments, I would like to submit this to Diane to formalize it and bring it up at our next business meeting for adoption. All right, hearing no feedback, I'll do that. So Diane, I'll send this your way.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Bill. That's great.
On behalf of the staff, thank you, school board. They have worked very, very hard.
All right, I'll stop sharing. Thanks for the moment.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bill. On that note, I guess I will adjourn this work session. Everybody have a very good and happy Thanksgiving. Much to be thankful for, even though we're in the midst of all of this, but hopefully everybody can stay healthy and enjoy their holiday. So
absolutely.
With that, we'll adjourn. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.